Hi there again. This time in our second tutorial about reflections, which is a form of transformation, so it's a shape moving somewhere, we are going to draw a four-sided figure. So you can choose a four-sided figure that you like of any size and shape, but just for ease, could you draw all corners just on the vertices, just to make things a bit easier as we're learning. So I'm going to draw a parallelogram. So there's my parallelogram. So I've gone across 3 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So across 3 and then up 6. I'm just making sure that I do keep those lines parallel. So here's my parallelogram. All corners are on the grid lines. Now I'm going to deliberately draw a mirror here that is, I'm going to make it on a 45-degree angle. So that means it goes through the diagonals of each of my grids, and it's not parallel to any of the lines on my quadrilateral here. So draw a four-sided figure, and then you can use a 45-degree line too if you wish. So now we're going to use the same principles as we did last time. Label your corners A, B, C and D, and now we're going to find the reflection of A, B and C, D, which will be A prime, B prime, C prime and D prime. So to do this, we need to go at right angles from A to the mirror. Now that's a bit tricky, so I recommend that you use a 90-degree or a set square. So as you can see here, A is going to be on, that's a 90-degree line from the mirror. Now that's not what you'd expect. I mean, some people might want to draw that line across here and then across, but that will not give you the reflection. Each of these points needs to be on a 90-degree line with the mirror, and let's call it XY. And then the same distance on the other side. So you can run that line, that 90-degree line, right through the mirror and measure it, and it's 4.5. So 4.5 on the other side is here. Label it clearly and call it A prime. We're going to do the same thing with all of these points. So let's do B next. So it needs to be at 90 degrees to the mirror, the line of reflection XY. So I'll firstly make sure I'm getting that 90 degrees. Okay, so here, drawing that across to the mirror, and you can see it's at 90 degrees, running that line right through the mirror out to the other side. It's 90 degrees on the other side too. Measuring the distance, it's not an even distance, it's actually 8.9. So on the other side, 8.9 centimetres, put a little dot, and that is B prime. So this is definitely harder than the last shape we did, and we just have to trust the method that I showed you. So drawing, now we'll look at point C and constructing a line from C to the mirror that is meets the mirror at 90 degrees. There it is. Running it through the mirror to the other side and measuring the same distance from C to the mirror, which is 6.1 centimetres. On the other side, 6.1 centimetres is here. Label that C prime. Okay, so we've only got one more point to find, and that's D, and that's not very far from the mirror. I left that one to last because it's the easiest. So drawing a right-angled line from D to the mirror And there we have our right-angled line, running it through, right through that mirror to the other side. And that distance is not very far. It's 1.7 centimetres. So 1.7 centimetres on the other side is D prime. Okay, now the test will be to see if we get a parallelogram. And we need to join them in exactly the same order as they were joined here. So A with B, A prime with B prime, we join. So joining those up. And then we've got B with C, so B prime with C prime. It's so tricky because to me, it looks, I just have to trust that process. And C with D, so C prime with D prime. And there it is, running across. And then D prime with A prime to complete my parallelogram. Do you think that looks like a true reflection? Well, you could test it by folding on the mirror and seeing if they match up. That's a good way of testing it. So I'm just folding that along my line XY. It's a bit tricky, but I can just see it through the paper. And holding it up to the light, yes, I can see that, if you can see it, I'm not so sure. Maybe if I turn it around, so the light's shining it behind it. Can you see that those points all line up? So they are a true reflection through the line XY. Okay, so that was a bit tricky. In my next tutorial, I'm going to draw a Cartesian plane and we're going to give each of the points A, B, C and D a coordinate value. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.